My name is Ben Mandel. I've been GMing for well over 20 years now. I think I originally got into gaming first just out of a love of fantasy and sci-fi stories. Good old Jules Verne and Tolkien. Just, I loved those as a kid and wanted more of those stories. When I found out that there was a way you could tell your own, and the fact that these books had really cool art, yeah, I was sold. And as I grew up and played more RPGs, I got to see that they can represent a lot more than what I thought initially. Yes, it's all about having a good time with your friends, but the depth of the stories you can tell, the emotions that you can evoke, and in all honesty, the personal growth that RPGs promote all meant a lot to me. I know that I've become not just better at things like creativity, story structure, and improv, but being a role player over these last few decades has helped me grow as a person, develop self confidence, develop my social skills, even develop my logistical skills and the good old ability to say no. And those are all things that have definitely made me a better adult. And I'm really excited to work with people, both professional therapists and otherwise, to give RPGs the respect that they deserve, to promote all these different positive things that they can affect in the people who play them. There's a lot more to games than just reading the rulebook and understanding the mechanics, and that's what I'm looking forward to discussing in the upcoming classes.
kind of like stair stepped. But I didn't pay any attention to that because I didn't want you guys, your sheets to kind of cluttered up with things that you weren't going to have any use for this session. So, if you sat down and tried to build this, your beginning character, you wouldn't end up with these exact skills or these, not skills, these exact contracts. I just wanted you to have some fun stuff to play with.
Yeah, these look good.
What is a dot?
Okay, so a dot is just a rank or a level in a particular thing. You can, World of Darkness uses dots because when they write out their character sheets, they literally have a series of dots and you fill in from 1 to 5 how many you have. So if I say, you have a dot in a skill, you have a dot in persuasion or something, it just means you got one rank, one level in that, and you could have up to 5. But I just, for sake of clarity, I just wrote the number rather than actually portraying them as a dot. Let me see if I can.
Okay. Numbers make sense now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you see.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, wonderful. Hi, Dave. So, hi, guys. I'm Jess. I am one of the creators of Changeling the Lost, which is a World of Darkness game. And we're going to be running you through a little sample scenario here. One of the things that, one of the reasons why the continuing education program for Geek Therapeutics is bringing in games like Changeling the Lost, in addition to the 5e D&D that you guys have been playing predominantly, is to show some of the diversity and the breadth and depth that you can find, because not all tabletop role-playing games are the same, just like not all card games are the same. And it's more than just whether you're playing fantasy adventures in a medieval analog and fighting dungeons, or whether you're playing space explorers, or in this case, changelings. One of the things, one of the kinds of diversity that you can find in role-playing games is how they look at people and how they look at characters, how they define characters. Most I'm going to hazard to say most traditional RPGs have an axis that is, in D&D, it's your race and your class. You have the thing you were born as and the thing you learn how to do. Changeling kind of takes that, and that, while it sounds very simple, it defines how the game looks at and defines characters, and so how they're looking at and defining people. One of the things that I really like about Lost is it doesn't hold to that XY axis in the same way. In Changeling, your characters are not defined by what you were born as and what you learned how to do. They're defined as what happened to you and how it changed you, which is your seeming and your kith, and how you have the outlook that you have developed to deal with those things that have happened to you, which ends up being your courts. So as you guys were choosing your characters, the choices that you made were different than the choices you would have made if you would have, say, just been presented with, you can play an elf or an orc, because those are the things you were born at. And I think that outlook reflects throughout the game in kind of how you play the game and how it addresses the character experience. And I think that's a really cool thing, and it's kind of like if a lot of games are, you have a red hammer, but you're playing another D&D type game, maybe you've got a blue hammer. Well, Changing the Lost is kind of like the screwdriver. It's just a different tool. It's not necessarily a better or worse, but it could be better or worse for a particular situation that you're wanting to explore. So that's one of the reasons why I'm very, very excited about sharing it with you. You guys have all done a wonderful job in picking out characters. And I'd like to, as we go through, I would like to start off by you guys telling me one observable trait about your character's appearance, so that it's just something that somebody across the room would point at and go, hey, you with the wings, you with the whatever. So let's see, who wants to start?
Go ahead. I think as a fairest with draconic kith, I would have that Alex has like sharp, white, pearly, pretty but sharp, pointy teeth.
Sure.
Very dragon looking when you look carefully at him.
Awesome. I'm grooving on that. Who wants to go? Is it easier for you guys if I just call on you in order? Does that take some of the pressure of who goes when? Okay, yeah. So Tim, do you have something that you'd like to, what would I notice about your character if I walked into the room right away?
I think the thing you'd probably notice first of all is the aroma that comes from him. It's just this beautiful, like citrusy, some slightly sweet notes like cocoa, cherry blossoms, vanilla, that sort of a feel. Nice. Very, very fair skin too.
Delightful. Wow, that sounds like a cool person to hang out with. How about Rasmus?
Yeah, I would define him like a brutish-looking ogre, but in a human form. He doesn't look like the guy you want to meet even in broad daylight. Basically, kind of guy.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a nice person, but do you dare to?
Do you dare to find out?
Yeah. So, yeah.
Awesome. Autumn, what about Gray?
So I'm seeing Gray as kind of like tall, but like impossibly thin. Just kind of as a wizened, so.
Nice. That's very notable. Nikki, how about Raz? No, Lou, sorry. What about him?
I'm seeing Lou as having like wolf ears.
Ooh, nice.
There.
Nice. Very, very cool. They definitely got that kind of predator thing going on. Love it. And Ray, how about Raz? What do they look like?
So I'm looking at Raz as being very short and very slight. So about 5 foot tall, very, very thin, black hoodie, a little shock of like silvery hair, kind of poking out, and large eyes that kind of reflect the sadness in you when they look at you, almost like mirrors.
Love that. Love that. Okay, that gives me a lot to go with and is very evocative. You guys did a great job with that. Okay, so you guys are all members of a freehold. A freehold is a settlement of changelings. Quite often they gather around cities, and your freehold is named the Freehold of Fire River. And the reason for that is there's a river that runs through your city, directly east-west, the entirety of it. And so when the sun rises and when the sun sets, the light is reflected on the river, and it looks like the entire river is on fire. So your freehold is called Fire River, and you've been there long enough. Even if you've only been there for a few months, it's up to you how long ago your durance ended and how long you've been with the freehold. But you know that the freehold is ruled by a series of monarchs every season, in accordance with the seasons of nature. A new member is chosen from the court that is the season that's coming up. And they rule for about 3 months, and then they hand off the scepter. And there's actually a beautiful gold scepter. It's about yay long. It's got a fire opal that must be as big as a goose's egg. And it's at the end, and it's enclosed in gold that is kind of wraps around it and cages it to make it look like it's the center of a flame. And that scepter is extremely important to the ceremonies that are involved with the transition of power. The different courts in the freehold change off that power every season because they believe that the idea of letting go of power willingly is something that is so foreign to the true Fae that they would never be able to recognize a group that actually does that. So they believe that it's a layer of protection from drawing attention of the fact that there are so many lost gathered in one place and so much Fae energy gathered in one place. Normally that would shine like a beacon to the true Fae, and your keepers would all be coming back to reclaim you. So this is very, very important. And right now it's mid-March. The time is coming for the end of this winter rain, and the ceremony for spring to step up normally would have happened by now. It's been delayed. And it's been delayed because while normally this time of year, the flowers would start to bud out, the leaves would be starting to come out a little bit. Your city has a cherry blossom festival where the cherry trees along the river when they all come into bloom, it's a big thing. But it is not going on this year. About 3 weeks ago, your weather, instead of starting to turn for spring, took a deep dive into winter. You maybe get a little bit of snow every year in the winter time, not a huge amount. You have had more in the last 3 weeks than you normally get in 10 winters. The entire city is just frozen down. Grocery stores are starting to run out of food because trucks can't get in. But it all seems to be strangely associated right around your city. Meteorologists from all over the country are calling it an anomaly, and they're not really sure how to answer it. Everybody's getting pretty tense because the ceremony to make the transition of power has now been delayed several times, in part because no one has heard from the Winter Monarch in at least a month. The person who nominally holds the throne right now is a winter courtier. Her name is Perdue. They have held the throne through more winters than any other person in the history of this freehold. They've held the throne 23 times. People are not really sure exactly how far back it goes, but they quite some time that they have been the person to take the throne when the time comes in winter. They're known for wearing all beige. A lot of times winter courtiers will wear sparkly white, Elsa type, diamonds like ice falls and that kind of thing. They wear all beige. They wear a mask that doesn't even have eye holes. It's just a mask. They always show up in beige with a cloak. There's even some rumors that maybe there's more than one Purdue, and maybe this is actually just a role that different winter courtiers take. But the winter courtiers, deny it. And those of you who are in the winter court, you know that that's entirely not true. That's silly. People just don't understand. So you guys, you're kind of, the stress levels are running a little high in the freehold, because you know that not only is this just a matter of the ceremony being put off, but if the seasons don't turn, this large of a group of changelings in one place could very easily draw the attention of one or more true fae. And today, you guys have all received in your mailboxes, if you live in an apartment and live within town, or if you have a little hollow, a little hidey hole carved out into the hedge, which is the supernatural buffer zone between the human world and the world of Arcadia, the world of the true fae. You've gotten a letter. It's, strangely enough, for a fae message, it's a very, very mundane looking business envelope. And in the upper corner, in the return address, it says correct calculations accounting, and it's got a street address of down in the downtown area, and in an equally mundane looking type font is your name in the the to place. And when you open it up, it looks more like a business email than it actually does a correspondence. It's got to your name from. The gentleman's name is Philibert J. Clark. And then it's got a bunch of gobbledygook afterwards. It's a CPA, CIA, CMA, a whole bunch of lettery gobbledygook that are probably this person's title. And it simply says, your presence is required. There's a date and a time. It's tomorrow at noon. And it's signed Philbert J. Clark. And those of you who are in the Spring Court, PAX, you recognize this is a Spring Courtier. He's known around town to, he's nobody special per se, but he's worked with the Spring Court and is a member of the Spring Courts for years and years now. No reason not to trust him. The rest of you may have seen him at a freehold gathering or that kind of thing. The name's not unfamiliar, but it's just kind of a strange missive. So time passes, and would you like to attend?
Yeah, but I'm gonna show up late, man. I don't want to just get there right on time. That doesn't make any sense. I gotta take my time, get in my van, and go over there.
Totally fair.
I'm gonna show up early.
You're gonna show up early? Fair enough.
Yeah, an hour before.
So when you what about the rest of you? Are you going to attend on time, early, late?
I'm going to show up right on time, but I'm going to kind of hang around outside to kind of see who else is showing up.
Cool.
I'm just standing by the door looking menacing.
Okay. So the address is for a completely mundane looking accountant office. It's got you can look in through the front window. It's got a small lobby. There's a secretary's desk in the front area. There's a woman sitting behind it who looks completely human. You guys will know that you each can see each other's mien, M-I-E-N, and what that is your actual looks, your fae looks. This is who you really are. However, humans don't see that. They see what's called the mask. So they see a pretty mundane looking person. There might be a little element of something, like if your mane had made you look like a tree person, like an Ent from Tolkien. Maybe your in your mask still has like bark brown skin, or maybe it's got really rough skin. Maybe it occasionally looks like you've got flowers in your hair or leaves in your hair, but nothing that wouldn't be explainable with costuming or hair dye, or the broad range of humanity's attributes. But this woman looks absolutely entirely human. When the rest of you show up, there is a very, very large and gruff looking gentleman leaning up against the wall outside the door, looking like he's probably the bodyguard for the place. Those of you who have had encounters with Rip before know that he's a member of the Summer Court, and he's a member of the Autumn Court. I'm sorry. Yeah. Sorry about that. Remember the Autumn Court. You all, except for Pax, go in about right about noon. The woman is very she's like, oh, and she kind of looks at you, not in the way that somebody would look if they saw a person who had wings or wolf ears or that kind of thing, but just kind of well, this is an interesting group of clients that is not the kind of people that I normally see showing up together at an accountant's office. But she, after the initial kind of like flicker of surprise, she is extremely professional. She welcomes you to take a seat. There's a variety of seating in the lobby, the area there. She uses her little buzzer on her desk to say, Mr. Clark, I believe your noon appointment is here. And there is a voice from the other side of the speaker says, thank you very much. Please send them in. And you would have noticed as you cross town to get to this, that the storms are just still raging. Like, even though somebody has obviously swept the sidewalks here and shoveled the sidewalks, there's still a sprinkling little drift that you have to push out of the way as you pull the door open. The storms are not letting up in any way, shape, or form. And the voice on the other side of the intercom says, Miss Marker, why don't you go ahead? It looks like it's going to be getting worse this afternoon. Why don't you go ahead and take the rest of the day off? Make sure you can get home safe before dark. I'll lock up. And the woman looks surprised, but obviously very happy and is very pleased to be getting home before the storm gets any worse. And she gathers up her things and scuttles off, shutting the door behind her. About this time is probably when Pax shows up, and she's very confused, but
he's stepping onto the back of his van. His van actually arrived, and then he got into the back of his van. He climbs out of the back of his van after aligning his chakras and whatnot, and gets out with this bag over his shoulder. And this bag is great. I'll post a picture on the Discord, but this bag is like a like a wool chicken on the end of a strap. And he walks into he kind of just flashes her the peace sign and just kind of walks into the accounting office.
Yeah, she looks like
not a care in the world.
She looks like she really wants to go back and make sure that this is okay, but the storm is just like the wind whips the door out of her hand and slams it shut behind you. And she kind of stands there for a second doing this and then just makes a beeline for her car. She's just like, I'm going to get home before I can't get home, So when you guys are all in the office, there's a door that is behind the receptionist's desk, and it opens, and a very, very, that's a really cute bag. A very mundane looking, very accountant looking gentleman opens the door and peers out. The only thing exceptional about him is his skin is extremely pale, and it is decorated with what looks like tattoos of numbers in columns that just mark it. And as you're watching, they move like they're tallying themselves across his skin. And he looks around as if he's maybe expecting more of you, and kind of nose counts and, well, I suppose you'll do. Come in. And leaves the door open as he goes back into his office.
I'm gonna come in eventually, kind of striding by the others with my chicken bag in tow. I'm gonna get a little spot at the table. I'm gonna open up the bag. I'm gonna pull out what looks like an Indian scarf and lay it on the table in front of him. And then he starts pulling these little crystals out of his bag and starts just setting them in front of him on the table. Just, periodically setting some crystals in a nice little pattern on the table in front of him.
The accountant, his desk is so precise. Every single paper on there is aligned exactly with the edges of the desk. There even seems to be a pattern in how tall the stacks are that forms a really kind of aesthetically pleasing arrangement. The walls of the office are one side of the office is floor to ceiling bookshelves, and there are just leather bound, looks like a tomes of like tax code and all kinds of things that just don't make any sense to anyone who's not an accountant. And the other wall is entirely lined with a bank of filing cabinets that go easily 7 foot tall. They've got 6 or so shelves per, and there's like 3 big columns of them that take up the majority of the row, and the wall. And he settles back behind his desk and he says, kind of looks at you guys all like, well, as you know, the winter monarch of the Winter Court is not been observed in approximately 27 days, 17 hours and 4 minutes. And it is causing a great deal of consternation in the Freehold. I have been hired as a representative for a client who would like their identity to remain anonymous, to ensure that the scepter of Fire River is recovered so that the ceremony can continue and does no longer need to be postponed. We're hoping this will stop all of this wintry nonsense. That's the job. Are you interested? He's just the worst PR person for recruiting adventurers onto a quest that you could ever imagine. This is so out of his league. And he's just looking at you like, well, are you asking questions?
Yeah, sure.
As he pauses in the moment, I lift up my little sane bowl that I produced from my bag as well.
Kind of narrows his eyes at you like, this is most unexpected.
What do you guys think? Good idea?
So I kind of move over to where the file cabinets are because it's a little bit darker over there, and kind of move toward.
Careful! Don't touch those.
I make sure I kind of startle at his direction, and I kind of move back a little bit and just kind of give him a look and sort of slip down and say, "So you called us here for a job?"
Yes. Exactly.
I've got nothing else to do.
Yeah, let's go for it. What's the job?
It's 2 parts. You will need to find the Winter Monarch, and you will need to recover the scepter and return it to me so that I can make certain that it falls into the right hands so that we can go through with the ritual to transfer the power and the monarchy wheel can continue turning. If you agree to do so, I have a location, and he gets up from behind his desk and he goes over to the first file cabinet and he pulls the file cabinet drawer out, and it just keeps coming and coming and coming. The file cabinet's probably 3 feet deep in appearance, but the drawer that he's pulling out is probably 7-8 feet long, and the filing inside of it, while the organization, the folders are all very precise. They're all color coded. They're all very modern. They're all labeled with little, printed out labels, the little tabs that stick out. But you can see, like, as he's going through them, like he'll open one and like light will glow out of it, and he'll flip past that, and he opens another one, and like a little green tendril comes like starting, and he's like, get back. And eventually he comes to, about 4 feet into the file. He comes to the file he wants and pulls it out, and he takes out a piece of paper, and on that piece of paper is a code. It's just a set of numbers. Said this will, you need to, sorry, it's this is all very unexpected. The Winter Monarch's location is unknown to me. However, my client has determined that there is an individual in the local goblin market who has negotiated with them for the location. This slip of paper is the price. You will take this to the goblin market, to Melusine, and Melusine will give you the location of the Winter Monarch. You will then go to that location. You will retrieve the scepter by whatever means is necessary, and you will return it here to my office. Now, you guys will have noticed that he's talking about hiring you for a job, and he hasn't mentioned any form of compensation yet.
Mm-hmm.
Going to the goblin market itself can be a dangerous thing. Goblin markets are locations within the hedge, where not quite often they're held where two trods, which are pathways through the hedge that are as safe as things get in the hedge. And quite often they're located along a trod. This one happens to be located where two major trods just outside of the city meet. You may have been there before. It's an ongoing gathering place, but it is not without dangers to get there, especially if you don't have anyone with you who knows the hedge very well, or if you don't travel within the hedge very well, or very, very often. It's dangerous just to go into the hedge, and it's always dangerous to deal. Goblin markets are ran by fey creatures, way, way, way lesser versions of the true fey that captured you and took you for your Durants. But they're still tricky, and they're still dangerous, and some of them are just outright murderous. You just never quite know what you're getting with them. They're not held to human morality in any way, shape, or form. So he's wanting you to go to this goblin market, obtain this item, or to obtain the location, and then go follow that location, which may very well be also in the hedge, to obtain this item for him. And he seems quite happy to not discuss payment.
I'm not happy not discussing payment. I want to discuss payment.
I see.
The hedge is a dangerous place to ask us to go there. What are you willing to give?
Oh, it's not me. However, my client has offered. Let me consult my file. One favor of your asking. If it is within their power, they will grant it.
One for each of the party?
No. One favor. This is a very dangerous matter.
Exactly.
Very dangerous thing you're having us do, Mr. Middle Management.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stand up and walk over to the window, and I want to, or to the, because are there any reflective surfaces in this room?
Oh yeah, definitely. There's there is a window behind the gentleman, so that when he's sitting at his desk, the light falls in on the desk. And there's other, like on the bookshelves occasionally there'll be like a decorative plate or like a metal plaque that has an award on it that he's gotten for exceptional accounting. Who even knew that they gave such awards? But yeah. So yes, there's definitely reflective surfaces in this area.
I'd like to enact a contract.
Certainly. So what you're going to do to enact your contract, you have two options. The first one is to pay the cost. You'll see the cost is probably 1 glamour. The other one is to evoke the catch. And the catch is basically a substitute way of paying for the power of that contract. So if you look at your contract, see, is that catch something that your character reasonably would have done, or is it being fulfilled at this point?
Would you consider other changelings in the area to have, other lost in the area to have a close connection with me, or no? Because
I
it's
think,
all related.
Yeah, I think your character's a spring courtier, right? And he seems like a very personable kind of person, at least from what I remember of the description.
Sure. Well, I'd like to enact reflections of the past with a catch.
Okay.
And I want to try to find a reflective surface that would show perhaps people entering this office. Looking for possibly
clever.
Other changelings. Yeah.
Very clever. Okay, so what you are going to do then, let's see. So that is reflections of the past. So your dice pool for that is your wits, or your weird plus your wits. So if you look on your character sheet under your attributes, wits is a mental attribute, and you've got a score there. And that is the number of die that your score allows you to roll for this mechanic. Your weird is on your traits area. So for Pax, you've got a wits of 2 and a weird of 1. So that gives you 3 dice in your die pool. Are there any other? Normally at this point, you could also add in things like equipment. If you had a particular, I bet you do, in your bag, you probably have a special cloth that you use when you're polishing, like your exactly, your singing bowl and that kind of thing. So if you were to go over and say just polish some fingerprints off of that reflective surface that you're looking at, that would give you an equipment bonus. So you would be able to add another die into your rule, or into your roll.
Let's do that. I'll just say to him, it looks like there's a few fingerprints here. No.
What? Fingerprints? No,
I got it. I got it, man. Relax.
Thank you.
I got it.
Thank you.
Go ahead and roll for that.
Certainly.
I have, so for people watching, I have 2 9s, a 7, and a 3.
Fantastic. Okay, so in the world of darkness, in Changeling, your successes are an 8, 9, or a 10 on 10-sided die. Also, if you roll a 10, there's a rule called 10 again. So basically, if you roll a 10, it counts as a success, but you also then get to re-roll that 1 die to see if you can gain more successes. It's sometimes referred to as slang as exploding. 10s explode. So in this case, you didn't get any 10s, but it sounds like you got, if I'm remembering your numbers right, 2 successes? Yep. Fantastic. So let me take a look at the power. Pull up an image reflected in the last week. Okay, so you're looking for other changelings specifically in this reflection to see if any other changelings have visited and had their reflection observed in this, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. You don't see the secretary. She's does not appear when you're scrying specifically for changelings. There are various and sundry people that you recognize, probably 4 or 5 different people from the freehold. Nobody that seems to be like doing anything other than like accounting paperwork. And certainly nobody, the file cabinets don't open during any of the time periods when there are changelings reflected in the surface. So you're kind of get the feeling that if this person met with a changeling about this topic, it didn't happen here.
Okay, got it.
So, but
Thank you.
good use, good, very intuitive use of that power. So the gentleman kind of hems and haws, Mr. Clark hems and haws for a few moments, and he says, all right, as a contingency, my client was expecting there to be a lot more people here, to be honest. I offer you this pledge. I am willing, I cannot promise further promises on their behalf, but I will promise you as a negotiator and as the arbitrator of this, that I will do my utmost to ensure that you are each gifted a favor. This favor may be slightly less than the all-encompassing single favor that was offered, as would only be appropriate for multiplying the numerical value sixfold. So I cannot guarantee that it will be the carte blanche favor that my client was originally offered, but I believe that I can safely say that they would be willing to offer a lesser favor to each one of you. Would that be acceptable?
Can I enact a contract?
Of course you can. You
Okay.
can enact a contract at any point. Contracts, for the most part, are instant actions. You can, any round or any turn, make one instant action and move up to your speed in yards during that action at the same time. Or should you choose not to take an instant action, you can move double your speed, kind of as a full out dash. So yes, you definitely can enact a contract. Which contract would you like to enact?
I would like to enact Light the Path to learn the motivation of an action or a statement.
Oh, very, very nicely done. Very nicely done. Let me pull that up real quick. I want to see the specifics on it. So look at your dice pool, figure out how many die you should be rolling, and go ahead and roll them.
Wits plus word. So it says wits plus weird versus
Weird,
subjects, composure plus weird. So I'm looking at wits plus weird.
You're taking your wits and weird, and then what I'll do is I will roll for Mr. Clark. I will roll their composure plus, what was it, dear?
Composure plus weird.
Composure plus weird.
So if my wits is 4 and my weird is 1, I roll 5 die.
Yes, you roll 5 die, and then you're going to pay attention to anything that is 8, 9, or 10.
Okay.
They may be zeros on your die.
All right. So do you want to hear all of them or just?
Just tell me how many you have that are 8, 9, or 10.
I have 1 8.
You have 1 8. Okay.
Yes.
So you got one success on this, and then we're going to roll his, let's see. I'm so sorry. Light the Path. Fantastic. Subject composure versus weird. Okay. So he is kind of a composed gentleman, but he gets frazzled pretty easily. So he's got 2 dice for his composure, and he's just the same strength. Your weird represents how powerful you are with fayness, if that makes sense. So as you would play these characters ongoing, one of the options you have for spending your experience points is to buy more weird. The upside of that is that it increases your glamour pool, which is your spendable supernatural energy. And it eventually will increase how many glamour you can spend in a turn. The downside of it is changelings have a statistic that I didn't use very heavily in creating your guys' characters because it's a bit complicated. It's called clarity, and it basically represents how well you're balancing your fey self and your human self. If your clarity goes super low, you go into bedlam, which is basically a state of madness or full immersion into feyness, which is chaotic energy and that kind of thing. If your clarity stays too high, you have difficulty enacting your contracts and that kind of thing because you're just not that connected. You put a distant wall between yourself and your base self. So weird is your representation of how oomph you are as a changeling. So he's the same level as you guys. He has 1. So I'm going to roll his. And I got a 6, a 4, and a 2. I got 0 successes. So you were able, even though you just kind of like, I'm not really sure I did this. He's really easy to read. And you can tell when you're using this that his motivation for this, he really, really wants the situation to get handled. He's very nervous about what this big storm is happening, and he's also very intimidated by his client. Whoever that client is, he wants to make certain that he is doing the utmost job for them that he possibly can. Did that answer your question satisfactorily?
And I just was also curious as to whether he was actively wishing us harm or trying to harm us.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have any malevolent thoughts whatsoever going on, or malevolent body language kind of things. He's just really wants to get this job done. He wants to get you out the door on this thing so he can mark it off his little to-do list.
Okay. All right. So I'm satisfied. So I will take this job.
Fantastic. The rest of you agreed? And I'm not going to craft a huge pledge for you guys right now, but what he would ask for is for you guys to enter into a pledge with him, which is a supernaturally sealed oath that basically he puts forth that he promises that his client will offer you each a minor favor in exchange for your services. Should you be able to recover the scepter for the scepter of Fire River for his client.
Sure.
Okay, and so you guys all make, and you can feel when a pledge kicks in, and you guys all feel, okay, I got this thing. And you also, because you've done this pledge, part of the pledge is that he is lending a bit of his strength to you in the upcoming thing. So you guys all have 1 extra glamour that's just kind of sitting around waiting for you to use it. Okay. And that is a benefit of entering into this pledge with him. So at any point you can call on Mr. Clark's glamour and use it. If you're out of glamour, you can use it as a die when you are, like, if you're in a die pool that you're like, I only have 3 dice to roll here. You can one time choose 1 extra die and put it into your die pool on this adventure. Okay. And so once this has been pledged, he pulls out another drawer and again flips through it. Weird things come out, little sparkles come out, moths fly out of one folder, and he pulls out this key. And this key is like probably this long. It's just this big old gnarly like skeleton key looking thing. And he shuts the drawer of the file cabinet very carefully, and he kind of walks to the side of it. It sticks out like 3 feet from the wall. So he walks to the side of it. So he's like between the 2 file cabinets, and he turns to the side of the file cabinet, puts the key into it. And he mumbles a few things and turns the key, and the side of the file cabinet opens up, and you can see a pathway to the hedge through this file cabinet. Now, this doesn't make any sense at all, because obviously you should be seeing, at the very least, you should be seeing all the file folders and drawers and everything. But nope, it is an open pathway as tall as the filing cabinet is, probably wide enough for 2 of you to walk through it at a time. And through it, you can smell the scent of just super, super nature. What you see through it is a briars and brambles, a wall of thorns that is as tall as you can see up, and a pathway going forth. And he says, this trod will take you to the goblin market safely, and just kind of waits for you to pass through.
So I'm going to
Going
start.
through.
Okay. Does
Very
anyone
scary.
not go
All
through?
my crystals and put them
Yeah,
away.
gather up all your crystals.
Yeah. So I look at Philibert and I ask him to please hold on to my skateboard while we go. I'll be back for this. I just kind of
You couldn't leave that with Miss Mark's desk if you would like.
so I just kind of
To the lobby.
I go into the lobby, slip it underneath her desk, like to the side, so and then come back.
Okay. So as you go, go ahead.
Before we leave, can I use Witch's Intuition?
Of course you can. Of course you can. Let me pull that up real quick and see. What does that do?
I learn one fear from the subject's subconscious.
Oh, okay, definitely. So the dice pool for that is wits plus weird minus the subject's composure. We already determined that the subject's composure is 2. So roll your wits plus weird pool and tell me how many successes you get.
Oh wait, a 0 is a 10, right? So I have a 10.
0 is a 10. Oh, wonderful. Okay, so you just have 1 10. That's the only success?
Mhm.
Okay, so you bank that 1 10, and then you can re-roll that die again and try and get more successes.
What if I get another 10?
Then it explodes, and you get to do it again. So you've now got 2 banked successes.
That is it.
Okay, so you have 2 banked successes. I'm going to roll his 2 die for his composure, and I got a 2 and a 6. Poor Mr. Philibert is not feeling very well put together today. So you get a you can acquire knowledge of one of the subject spheres. Now, because you've gotten more than 1 success, what I'd like to do is I'd like to give you the opportunity to you can either specifically hone in and say that you want to gain a success or a fear about something he has a phobia about, something in relation to business, something in relation to this quest. So you can either target the fear and find out a fear in a certain category, or you can just get 2 fears randomly. Which would you like to do?
I don't know if I can get the specific, but I'm curious about if he has any fear of the client.
Oh, okay, very good. You get the sense that he has not fear per se. There's definitely some like, I don't want to disappoint this person, but not the sense of like, I fear that they're going to do me harm, or that they're necessarily a super scary person, or that kind of thing. But there's definitely some invested desire to please.
Gotcha. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Fantastic. Good use. Good use. Okay, so you all travel through this gateway, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So he shuts the door behind you, and it as you hear it, and it sounds like a filing cabinet drawer shutting. It's that metallic, jittery sound of thin metal shutting behind you. But when you turn to look at it, there is no door there. It is just a path through the thorns that goes back as far as you can see and leads off into the darkness. Ahead of you, if you look forward, you see the local goblin market, and we might have a photo of that. And it's kind of, it's kind of a combination of what you think of as like a fantasy farmers market, a swap meet, some of the buildings that are there, some of the stalls are very obviously just like lean-tos with like cloth and wood cobbled together. Some of them are permanent buildings that have like storefronts open or stall fronts open ahead of them, but it's obvious that probably somebody lives in the back area. Some of them are completely nomadic looking, where it just looks like somebody plopped a lean-to down here and did it. Some of them are kind of strange. Like there's one that looks like it's actually made of plants growing up over the frame itself, like like the entire shade area is made of vines. And over in one corner, there's what you swear is like a 1964 VW van. The front hood is open. It shows that there's no engine or anything in it. And the wheels are all replaced with what looks like wooden circles instead, like cartwheels instead of rubber and that kind of thing. But yeah, there's a Vita van over there.
Nice.
And your person that you've been sent to see, Mr. Clark said was named Melusine. How do you proceed?
Hey guys, hold up. Listen, I like the nature, but how many of you guys have actually been to a goblin market before? No? Okay. Listen.
Wait a minute. Yeah, I have.
Rip's like,
Listen, there's like 4 things you got to keep in mind, right? When you go to the goblin market. First thing is, no, and he looks directly at the big guy. He says, no violence or intimidation. These guys aren't going to take kindly to that kind of stuff, man. They don't like that. It's going to be trouble. The second thing is, and probably more trouble than you can bite off. The second thing is, you got to trust that you're going to get what you're going to get. Like, they're going to tell you what you're going to get. Now, that doesn't mean there's no catches, so make sure you think about that too, but little side effects, stuff like that. And you can't get a refund. You're not bringing anything back to this goblin market. That's not happening. And also, you got to honor your deal, because the deal you're going to make, it isn't money. They're not going to ask for money. You got to honor whatever deal it is you're putting out there. So just play cool, man. Play cool. They're here to do a job. We're here to do a job. But let's play by the rules as much as we can, man.
So I'm like sniffing the air, like trying to see what's going on.
Oh,
But-
the scents here, Lou, are amazing. There is every kind of meat and food product you could ever imagine, and some stuff that smells like food, but that you cannot place in any way, shape, or form. There's all kinds of there's some bad smells. There's some people walking through here that are, well, there's no apparent humans as you looking at it from the outside. There are goblins, there are fey creatures, there are hobs, all kinds of sentient, bipedal, for the most part, individuals. Anything you can imagine from out of a fairy tale or folklore or horror movie or that kind of thing. It's not unlikely that you would see something like that here. They're just as diverse as you guys are, and even more so because they're not most of them. You see some that you're like, oh, that might be a lost, that that could be a darkling, that could be a beast. But there's a lot of them that are just, they're fey creatures of various and sundry sorts, hedge dwellers and that kind of thing.
Go ahead, Ray.
I take a moment and just kind of close my eyes and listen on the wind and hear and try to listen into anything that might seem like anything that might lead us in the direction we're trying to go.
Ooh, okay. So are you listening like specifically for maybe the name Melusine? Because that's basically the only clue you were given about this. Okay.
Yes.
So as you listen, there are so many. Oh, actually, here, that's actually a contract you have, isn't it? I think there is a contract. Let me see. I'm flipping through here. Whoops.
I have Never Tread, Shadow Patch, Primordial Voice, and Light the Path.
Yes. Okay. Let's see. This is Raz. Sorry, I've got you guys all kind of stacked up here. Rip and Raz. There we go. Okay, fantastic. So you have got Primordial Voice. It's an elemental contract because you are an air elemental. You have this association with air, and if you roll your socialize plus weird and get successes, you can actually ask the air around you about anything that occurred in that area within the last day. And then if you get more successes, you can ask more specific things. So you could do this and literally be able to tell when anyone in the last day has said the word melusine in your direct area. Does that sound like something you'd like to try?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, so you're going to spend 1 glamour. You guys all on your character sheets, your glamour pool, you'll notice that you have a 5 and then a slash and a 10. What that means is you start out with 5 glamour points out of a pool of total 10. And you can recover glamour in various and sundry ways if you start getting low. One of the ways is to try to siphon it off of humans who are experiencing intense emotions. You also, you know that there are hedge fruits. There are items that grow in the hedge that you eat, and they can give you a glamour back. That might be the kind of thing that you might be able to bargain for in the goblin market. So right now, if you haven't spent any, you have 5 glamour, and you can spend 1 of them to activate that contract. And I'm sorry, I should have explained that when people were first activating their contracts.
Yeah, so I spent 1 of my glamour, but then also I have a catch.
Ooh.
Make an offering to the element, hang up ribbons for it to flow through. So can I pull a very thin gray silk ribbon out of my pocket of my hoodie and very surreptitiously tie it up to a stick that's kind of sticking up out of one of the stalls that we're right next to, and kind of tie it and say a little incantation to the air around?
Certainly. Okay, so you don't even need to spend your glamour then, because your catch is basically, it's the shortcut, the workaround to spending glamour. So you don't have to spend your glamour for that. So roll me your socialize plus weird.
Okay, so my socialize is 2, my weird is 1, so 3 die.
Okay.
I have 1 9.
1 9. Okay, fantastic. So you've gotten 1 success. You're whispering to the air, and you're like, hey, has anybody been talking about this melusine person? Where the name sounds familiar. Where's it going on? And sure enough, the wind kind of picks up, and it like plays with the edge of your hoodie, and it's kind of whispering in your ear, and it's like, oh yeah, people talk about melusine. Yeah, she's over there. That's her stand. She does bargains. Yeah. I just realized, can you guys hear me whispering?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just realized, I don't know if I'm actually activating my mic or not. So, and the wind kind of like tugs a little bit at your hair, and you can see, like, sometimes you can see a little dust devil in the wind. That swirl leaves or that kind of thing, and it's kind of, you can see it kind of picks up a little bit of dust along the path, and then a few feet forward, it kind of shakes the leaves on one of the stalls, and there's a place up ahead that's selling scarves and that kind of thing, and it ripples through there. And so if you guys want, you can kind of just follow it to kind of get the idea of where it's kind of leading you.
And I just kind of point to the rest of the party and say, it's over there. She's over there. Let's go
that way.
Let's go.
Do we pass any? I'm sorry.
When we're walking, I'm gonna stay a couple of feet behind the rest, like watching over the situation and having control in a way. Basically being menacing,
There you go. This is a very unusual situation for you, Rip, because there are people here who are bigger than you. And not everybody by any stretch of the imagination, but there's a couple people that are obviously shoppers who are like half again your size, and there's every once in a while you'll see what's obviously a bodyguard out in front of a stall, and sometimes they're pretty burly individuals. So there's one person that is leaning forward so far that their arms are long enough they're literally knuckling the ground like a silverback gorilla, but their skin is green, and it kind of looks like there's algae dripping off of it, and they obviously look like they're a bouncer for one of the stalls. But this may be one of your only times that you've actually encountered like feeling like the little guy on occasion. but
It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. No.
But for the most part, people pass. They part so that your group can walk forward when they see that Rip is behind you and kind of herding you forward. So
I'm looking on the way there. I'm looking for a couple of things actually, if I can. If I could try my best to get maybe a local hedge guide, or the Huntsman's Clarion or something like that. If there's a hobgoblin that's willing to help out with that.
There's a stand that looks like it's got all kinds of like maps and charts, and there's multiple different globes and things like that, and the hand scrawled sign on it says, we know where to go, basically. Cool. And there's a gentleman behind it that is probably about 4 foot tall. He's got 2 sets of arms and a set of legs. His vest has been cut to allow him to for the lower set of arms to stick out of his rib cage too. His skin's kind of a light violet color, and he's got ears that like kind of out, and they've got little tufts of fur at the end of them. And if you even slow down near his stall, he starts chittering at you like, hey, you got somewhere you want to go? I know where everything is. I can take you where you want to go. You want to go somewhere? Go. It only costs you a little bit. Don't worry. It's well worth the price.
I think that's a great idea. And we're going to need somebody because we're going into the hedge. And so you're going to be our guy, I'm guessing. So I need to work out a deal with you. I don't know precisely where we're going yet, but I will a little bit later.
I can't take you somewhere if you don't know where you want to go. I can take you anywhere you want to go, but I can't take you somewhere if you don't know where to go. I mean, I could take you just anywhere if you want to go where I want to go, but usually people don't want to pay me to go where I want to go, and I don't go places where people, as I say, pay me. Thoughts, pay me. Yes,
I see.
Pay me.
Okay, so I will be. As soon as we know precisely where we're going, I will come back and hire you for certain. Do you know where I could find a goblin contract nearby? You are in Goblin Market. Can probably find goblin contract. Yes. Is there anybody you would recommend?
You could talk to Melusine. She sells many things.
Okay. I'll be back for you soon.
Be careful though. She's a sharp negotiator.
So am I.
Okay. You go on. You go find Melusine. Yeah, you come back and tell me what good deal you got. Yeah. You do that. You do that.
Oh, you just stepped in
it. Funny flower boy. He's obviously just like, yeah, okay. So if you continue to follow Raz, the little air path that's going, it leads you to a stall front that's attached to a building. It's got just a little like stone shack behind it, but it's probably a living quarters or that kind of thing. But the front part of it is open. It's got like waist high walls. It's probably maybe 10 by 10, 12 by 12. And it's got a like what looks to be maybe a canvas or linen roof over the top of it. And strangely enough, unlike most of the other stalls, there doesn't appear to be any goods here. Like there's no racks, there's no shelves, there's no globes and pieces of paper. There is a table across the back of it, and there's a woman sitting behind the table. She looks entirely human. She's got dark skin, looks like she's maybe from African, Middle Eastern. It's not real, it's swarthy. She's got dark hair that is just it probably hangs to her waist when it's down, but it's arranged in a lot of loops and braids, and it's very, very thick and curly. And she's just sits there and kind of watching as people go by. Doesn't seem to be like calling in patrons in the way that some of the other hawkers are.
She's selling information. That's why it's empty. I guess. Not Rip though. Rip doesn't guess. He just
Rip doesn't guess.
He's just watching out for the bigger guys because this is fucking terrifying.
So how do you proceed?
This is how it feels to fear. Okay, strange.
And now the shoe is on the other foot.
Yeah, this is a strange feeling.
And she kind of, if your group walks up, she, makes eye contact and smiles and nods, but doesn't look like she's actively trying to like, oh, come in. Just lovely day.
Don't talk at once, please. Sorry.
Can I help you with something?
Who had the paper? Who has the paper?
And did Ray take it? I'm sorry.
I don't think I did.
Did anybody? He didn't take the paper.
Paper's
Took
still
the
sitting on
paper.
the accountant's desk.
No.
So-
Somebody remembered that they took it. Who took the paper?
So Loot gets it out of his jacket pocket.
Yay!
Oh, thank you.
Phew! We had a moment.
Yeah.
He just looks over at her and slides it across the table. It's like, we need to find this.
No, wasn't that the
I'm-
price?
Confused.
Was it the price or was it?
Yeah, this is a price because we know what we are looking for, but this is a price.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see. This is that deal.
Yeah.
She picks up the paper and she kind of picks up a pair of glasses from beside her and puts them on and observes the paper through it and takes them back off before she sits it down and looks at you and says, so your employer is looking for a location, yes?
Say yes. Say yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
She's
she
standing in the background.
she turns, but she doesn't, she turns in her chair and you notice that the chair actually has wheels. It's a wheelchair. It doesn't look like it was built in the mundane world. It's held together by twining vines, and the wheels themselves look like they're blackberry brambles that have been woven together to form the wheels. And she turns and wheels herself over into a kind of a little side area and pulls out a box. It's about this big and opens it up and pulls out what appears to be a slip of notebook paper. I mean, like white paper, blue lines, little red margin thing on the edge. It's still got the little ruffly edge at the top where it looks like somebody's pulled it out of a spiral binder. And she very carefully closes the box, which is itself like an ornate jewel box. Just beautiful, beautiful construction. And she takes a piece of paper and she slides it across the table to you and picks up the slip with all of the columns on it and goes back and puts it in the jewel box and then turns back to you and she's like, oh, you're still here? Is there something else I can do for you? Does anyone pick up the piece of paper that's on the table?
Lou picks it up.
It looks like a street address for a main street in your city, in Fire River. It's got a zip code and everything. It looks like it's been written with blue ballpoint pen ink on a piece of, like a high school notebook. It's just got a very mundane address.
I'm curious as to why Philibert couldn't just give us this.
Philibert didn't have it. I mean, Mr. Clark. He also doesn't like to come to the Goblin Market. It's chaotic for his tastes.
Yeah, he's a little high strung, huh?
He likes things precise.
Mm-hmm.
You must be very careful in your dealings with him.
Well,
Now she tells us.
Shouldn't waste too much time here, I think. I don't know. What do you think, Lou? The paper bearer?
Well, our job is to get the scepter and the Winter King, and
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
you gotta watch what you say, Lou.
She said
No,
this in the
Lou.
goblin market.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
Don't worry, she'll keep her secret for you
Mum's
for a
the
price.
word.
For a price. She just said that
What's
in the goblin market.
We might have just
what
lost
is
our
the
favorites.
what is the cost to make sure that no one else can gather that information or use it that you just learned?
What do you have to offer?
Well, I
like secrets.
Do you like? How about one of your shiny rocks?
don't know
don't-
if rocks are exactly what she's looking for, and
You don't
he's
want
going,
stealing things, fripperies.
he's going to. I'm going to spend a glamour to do Cupid's eye.
Okay. So
And that's wits plus weird versus what appears to be a dice pool of like 900, I'm guessing.
versus the subject's composure plus weird. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So
What do I have? A two?
Melusine, she has a weird of 4,
Yeah, okay.
and her composure is also 4. So she will
Yeah.
be rolling 8 dice.
I will roll 3. Let's do
You roll
this.
3. Okay. Would you like to spend your Mr. Philibert's
I would
glamour
for
point
this.
now?
I don't know if it's going to
Or would you like
matter.
to wait it for later.
I'm going to wait on that, actually.
Okay. Like,
Well, and because this is, I don't know. This is not persuasion, socialize, or subterfuge. Anyways, I'll roll. Oh, I got 2. Well, check this out. Boom. 10, 10. 2 10.
oh my goodness. Okay, so just so you know, I got out of all of 8 of those, I got a 9, a 9, and a 7. The rest of them were not successes. So I have a total of
One more 10.
successes.
That's 3.
Fantastic. So you have 3 and
I have 3.
okay. So you equaled their successes, Melusine's successes on it. Learn one of the subject's desires. Specific requests, types of desires, hidden desires, etc., may require extra successes. So had you gotten 4 or 5 successes where she only got 3, then I would have allowed you, like we did earlier, to kind of target what it was that you were looking for. But as such, you get one of their desires, and for her, this is the one that's like right on top of her mind right now. Her desire is to get something. She wants to get something out of you that she could potentially trade to somebody else later for something else that she can use to trade for something else. So it's very, very mercenary mindset, and that is predominant in her mind. You kind of get the feeling that's probably like the predominant desire, that like this is sitting in a really well-worn place in her psyche.
Yeah. Look, man, I know you're just trying to run a business here. You're just trying to get things
Oh no,
done.
I am running a business, dear.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
And you need something that you
yes.
can use to sell to somebody else.
Sure.
Right? So look, I think that Lou here would probably be willing to do a favor for you or something like that to keep this on the down low in the future if you need it, right, Lou? For spilling the beans?
Oh, but considering the fact that you're going off to apparently try to recover something from one of your monarchs, I assume that the chances of Lou being able to come back here and perform a favor for me are, well, let's just say they're not a sure thing. But perhaps one of you has a memory that you'd like to divest yourself of. Some sort of trifling thing that plagues at the back of your mind that that keeps you up at night or disturbs your sense of calm. I would be happy to use that as a guarantee that this piece of information that you've given me will not reach any other ears. See, it's kind of a win-win.
I'm going to do a contract now.
You're going to do a what?
A contract.
A contract. Okay,
Yeah.
Delightful. Which contract are you going to activate?
Which is intuition.
Which is intuition. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm going to use the extra die.
Okay, fantastic. That is wonderful.
It
Let's
gives
see.
me 5 dice,
You
2
are-
10s.
Oh, delightful, man! Those you guys are exploding all over the place.
No, just 2 10s.
2 10s. Okay, so
Yeah.
those count as 2 successes, but you also get to roll those 2 successes again to try to get more successes because
Yeah, I did, and I didn't get anything.
they didn't
so
get any
just
more.
2.
Okay, so
No,
you got
just
2
2.
successes.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And witch's intuition is versus my composure, which we said was 4. So I'm going to roll this, and I got 1 success. So you beat me. You beat Melusine, and you're going to acquire the knowledge of one of her fears.
Yeah. So when she says what she said, if you have anything for her and stuff, I'm going to use that fear against her and say, I don't know. My biggest fear is that people will know that you are afraid of.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah.
she says, and the fear that comes out is being an untrustworthy business person.
Yeah. Okay. So when she says, I have anything to trade, and say, well, it would be stupid of you if if the rumor went out that you want to be trusted. Am I correct?
Are you attempting to blackmail me, good
No,
sir?
I'm just stating the facts.
Oh yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Any businesswoman
Yeah.
would find it
Whoa.
quite difficult if someone
Whoa,
started
whoa.
false rumors about their reliability.
No, I would never do that. That's for sure. But the problem is what we're looking for. This is so important, and if you spread that rumor, you would sound insincere because that's something like this scepter is gone. That would really put you in a bad light. You know what I mean?
My friend here is trying his best just to help everybody in this situation. I assure you,
It's a
there's
very
no
awkward
need.
way of going about it.
There's no need to get so upset. Look, hey, we're all just here trying to do our thing. Can I try to do like a persuasion or something to try to smooth this situation out?
Yeah, why don't you roll me, let's see, how about, would you like to use either presence or manipulation, depending upon how you're going about it, and then combine that with your persuasion.
Mhm.
And I believe that you actually have a specialty. So
Yes.
the things that are in the parentheses beside your skill sets are specialties. So if they're pertinent for the role that's involved, then they give you an extra die for that. So in this case, Pax has a specialization in so sincere. He is just so sincere. And if he's using the fact that he is so sincere in this challenge, then he can use, so that would give you
So I have a total of 7 because I'm going to use presence. I don't want to
7,
manipulate. I'm trying to avoid intimidating. I'm trying to avoid intimidating in the goblin market.
Yeah, no, totally.
I'm going to be so sincere about this and just try to, just trying to get by here.
Sure.
And I tell you, I rolled 7 dice. I rolled 110, and that's
okay. Roll it again. See if it explodes.
nothing else. No, so
that's okay.
A single success
That's
on
okay.
7 dice.
I got 0 successes.
Okay.
So yeah. So she's like, you're right. You're right. This was probably all a misunderstanding. I'm certain that if you had something you'd like to trade for this discretion on my part, should you choose, then we could perhaps just consider this a done deal. Would that be acceptable to you?
Yes, absolutely.
And what would you like to trade?
So I think it's probably likely that at least one of us will survive the situation. So a favor from, at a very minimum, one of us here.
That seems fair. One of you will return to me within the fortnight, within the next 2 weeks, and perform a favor for me. Agreed?
I agree.
Agreed.
Okay.
And so she formulates a very quick, very straightforward, because she feels she's gotten the better end of this deal, a little pledge. And you can all of you who agree to it, you can sense that this is because this is like a negative or not necessarily a super positive social environment. The pledge doesn't actually have any like super benefit. It's just recognizing that this agreement is is a done deal and is sealed by the weird. So you feel it sink in. You don't really feel like it's necessarily giving you much, other than you know that she is, if she tells anybody else about this, about the thing that you said, then you know that their bad things will come to her, and probably based on the fear that you bound into it, that people will either not believe her or will think that she is breaking someone's word in order to do that. So you feel pretty good about the thing. She looks at you after you take the piece of paper, and you realize that you're in the hedge. None of you have been to this goblin market before. You're in the hedge. You don't really know how to get out, to get back to the real world where the address is.
Yeah, we might need the help.
Mr. Clark, Mr. Clark let you in, so you didn't have to really worry about it on your way in, but he didn't really give you a contingency plan for getting back out.
Hey, Pax, what about your buddy?
Yeah, why don't we swing by there and see if they can help us get out of here?
Okay.
Back where we're trying to go.
So you're going back to the guide's booth?
Here comes another deal. Yep.
He's very excited to see you back. He's like, okay, you know where you need to go now? Yeah? You pay me lots, I take you there. Yes? Yes.
Yes. Let's make a deal. Let's
delightful. Delightful. I like deals.
You start the bidding. What will it take for you to lead us back to our home area, our freehold area?
To
our freehold.
Oh, you want the pathway out to Fire River?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes. You want safe pathway or dangerous pathway? I can do either. Dangerous pathway is cheaper.
Let's do safe pathway.
Safe pathway? Okay. Safe pathway. I like the rocks. Look at the rocks. I think a rock.
Shiny rocks.
Oh, here you are. Let's see. I'll let you. How about this? You make it ultra safe for us, and I'll give you your pick. And he holds up 3 different crystals.
I make it super safe for you. You give me all 3 of them.
There
I
you
guarantee you get to the gateway safe. You give me all 3 of them. Yes?
Through the gateway. Through the gateway.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Here you are.
Of course. Okay. And so they gather up all 3 of the rocks and they clack them in their hands. They're very, very excited about this. And then they point over to the to across the way, and there is what appears to be a stone archway. It's broken in the middle. So it's basically just kind of 2 pieces like this now, and the flagstone at the center, but it's still standing because it's been covered up with ivy so much that it's literally holding the arch in place. And the hub leads you over there and said, this get you safe home. And he slaps the archway so hard that it just shakes it. You wouldn't think. I mean, this hob is tiny, but he slaps the arch and it just shakes both the things. And sure enough, it just kind of, it's as the ivy leaves, some of them are starting to fall down to the ground from the impact of this. The air in the gateway area kind of does the kind of Wayne's World thing, yeah. And you can instead of the other side of the goblin market that you could see through it before, now you can see like a manicured lawn, and there's like a fountain with some ducks in it. Those of you who've spent some time in the downtown area, like Lou, you've gone through the parks and that kind of thing at night. You recognize this is obviously the main city park in the downtown area of the city. Said, okay, there you go. And he tries to start pushing you through it. Like he's like, you got to go through. That's the deal. You got to go through now. Bye-bye.
I wait till all of them go through and then I'll go through.
I just remembered time moves differently in the hedge, right?
It can.
Yeah. You said lawn and it's winter time. Yeah. So yeah. This is gonna be fun. Yeah, I go through. I go through.
Okay, so despite the fact that when you looked through it, it looked like spring. I mean, it looked like beautiful green daffodils starting to grow, the cherry blossoms starting to fall a little bit. The minute you go through that pathway, you are knee deep in snow. It is just, and your hoodie, Raz, is not anywhere adequate for this kind of weather. You're all pretty chilly, but you are safely through the gateway. And if you turn to look back, there is a steel arch that was some sort of art installation back in the 1920s or that kind of thing, kind of Art Deco. The gates on it are in place, and there's ivy growing up them, so it's obvious that those gates did not open to let you through, but you're through them, and you are in the city proper now.
Oh,
Okay.
that was a ride, man.
Maybe just at the end of it, you can hear on the blizzardy winds that are coming through.
I'm gonna miss that little guy.
I love that guy.
I hate goblin markets.
Yeah. I think that goblin got the best of the deal.
Just make sure we return in a fortnight, at least one of us, Lou.
Yeah, one of you guys that agreed. Anyway.
Okay, so you now have, Lou, you have this piece of notebook paper with a street address on it. You are standing knee deep in a snowbank in the middle of the city park. How would you like to proceed?
I'll share the address with everybody so they know what the address is.
Fantastic. Hang on just a second. I want to kind of look through. So Raz, because you keep up with where people are and what people are, it's important that you know, like cross streets and things like that. You know that this is it's in town, not in the downtown area, but it's probably a 15-minute walk away or so. It's in an area that's semi-industrial, not residential businesses, but not like the downtown businesses where there's a lot of traffic. This place that's got things like industrial parks and storage complexes and warehouses and things like that. Not, just not like super industrial, like construction stuff, but just, you only go there if you got something to do out there.
Okay.
Oh, great. The warehouse district. Nothing bad ever happens there.
No.
Ever happens in the warehouse district?
No, it's always good. I know where this is when I look at the paper. I say, I know where this is. And follow me. We may as well get going. It's really cold. Let's go. Maybe we'll pass like a coffee shop or something that's open where we can warm up on the way. I'm hoping, but
Look, I'm not into like conspiracies or any of that stuff, right? But like, man, there's some weather witches doing stuff, I think, here, and we've got. Okay, no offense to my fellow or to my friends who are winter courtiers here, but Purdue, this is a pretty convenient thing, right? Like this storm is a pretty convenient freak thing that weather witches are doing, and Purdue's using it maybe to hang on to his court for a while. I think we're probably going to run into a thing or two when we get here. So let's just be ready for that trickery and secrecy going on.
Well, Pax, I'll let you in on a secret. I heard through the grapevine that the chatter is that Purdue lost the set, gambling a bit prodigiously. So I agree with you that this is probably cover, but more cover that they don't have it than holding on to power.
well, yeah.
Yeah, because I heard that he hasn't been seen for a month. Almost a month.
Well, yeah.
Some of my summer court friends are thinking of hunting Purdue down and, working them over.
Well, I mean, the problem is that winter court stays and spring court doesn't come, and if spring court doesn't come, well then summer court has a bit of a problem, and if summer court has a problem, well then autumn court has a problem. We've got a big problem here, and regardless of what it is, Purdue's got a big problem, and you're looking at it, I think.
Well, also just to let you all know that my sources are also telling me that one of the courts is trying to frame the winter court for these storms. So while these are winter storms, I don't know if it's because of the winter court. I think that there's something larger at play here than just winter not wanting to or being able to pass on the power.
Yeah, the word on the, amongst the street folk is a government machine that controls the weather has been sabotaged. And that's what causing all of this storm. So it might not even be a conspiracy with Purdue.
Might not have anything to do with him. I wonder if he was maybe even kidnapped.
I think it's one of the bigger face, stronger ones.
One
of the true ones, the powerful ones.
Like the birds said, man, to everything, turn, turn, turn. There's a season.
Well, for now,
turn.
If he can destroy Fire City, he has gotten rid of a lot of problems.
I think all of these are really good ideas and really good things to contemplate. But for now, can we turn towards getting to this address? Because I'm cold.
I see what you did there. I like that. There's a time for every purpose, man. Let's go.
Yeah, let's get out of this snow.
So at this point, you guys have been walking as you're talking, and kind of it's slow going because you're where it's not snow, it's ice, and the wind is just blowing really hard and that kind of thing. But you guys managed to make your way out to kind of the outskirts here, and the address is for a quick storage unit. It's one of those ones that or the storage facilities. It's one of those ones that has a big chain link fence around it. It's got a gate at the front where you pull in with a car, and it's got the keypad. That's so you can the people that rent there can put in their keypad. There's no office or that kind of thing here. It looks like it's all monitored. It's there's big signs that say 24-hour camera security kind of thing, and it's rows of storage units that are made out of corrugated metal, and each person padlocks their own, and they all open out onto the outside within this chain link fence, probably 6-7 foot tall chain link fence with razor wire around the top of it. And there's it doesn't look like anybody else has walked in here in a while, because there's no driveway marks up to the fence or footsteps up to the fence. If there has been any, the storm has covered them up. So it's basically, you look like you're the first ones coming here in a while.
On that note, does it say anything else about the address? For instance, a locker number?
There are 2 sets of numbers, one down in the left corner and one down in the right corner. The left corner says Q17. The right corner is a series of 6 numbers.
Ooh, the lock.
Padlock, yeah.
The combination, yeah.
Well, hey, when we get there, maybe I can see if I can spot who's been to this storage garage if they haven't through this way. But as we know, they can come in and not even step foot here. So different ways to get to different places, man. But we can check it out when we get there before we go in.
So how do you decide to approach the, like I said, there's a chain link fence that's probably 6-7 feet tall. The closest of the buildings inside that is a good, 2-car pathway so that 2 cars could drive around each of the buildings.
Is there a lock to this gate?
The gate appears to be locked via the keypad. So it looks like you drive up, you insert the key, put in the keypad number, and it opens the gate for you.
That's probably those numbers.
Is the camera, is this pointed at the keypad, or can I see if it works and stuff? Because I worked with security.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, why don't you roll me a, let's see, roll me whatever your
Intelligence, maybe.
pool is for. Intelligence plus, do you have a skill that would apply to this? Sorry, I sat down your character sheet. There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Investigation, maybe, but
sure,
it's
you can
that's tracking. That's for tracking. I
Oh,
think.
that your specialty is in
Yeah,
tracking.
okay.
So you can use investigation for any purposes, but if you're using it for tracking someone, then you get a bonus die to it.
Okay.
It's
okay,
not a
okay.
limiter.
So intelligence plus investigation.
Yeah, that sounds great.
8, 10, 8. Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, you notice, you can tell that the cameras they look like they're staring exactly where they should be, right to the keypad area and the approach, but you can also tell that the wire to the camera has been cut. And the little green light that should be on top to show that it's working is not on.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to go up to the little lens of the camera. And
Okay,
I'm
the
going
camera
to...
is on the security building, and
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was above the... I'm
yeah,
sorry.
no, it's like, it's probably 10 feet up, so that they can get a really good look at the whole entryway in case somebody's trying to leave with somebody else's motorcycle or something.
Okay, sorry.
But yeah, no, it's fine. There's other shiny stuff here. I mean, if nothing else, there's icicles hanging all over the place here. The chain link fence is just like along the edge of it is just like with icicles.
Shiny.
And it's been this way for how long?
This big storm has been going on for about 3 weeks now.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to use the ice to try to use my cloth to try to shine it up a little bit.
Okay, fantastic. And you're going to use reflections of the past?
Yep. Reflections of...
So roll me your wits plus weird.
That used to be.
So I think this is important. So I'm going to spend into this one. I'm going to spend a glamour to add to this roll because I think this is important.
Okay.
So I have a single success and 8.
Okay. There has been no one in or out of here in the last week.
So
not
nobody
a single soul, not a human, not a changeling. Occasionally that there was, like a bird that landed on the fence, but even that's not what you expect. This storm has just been keeping everybody out for anything other than necessities.
So it's quite a while ago.
Yeah.
How high is the snow? I mean, the fence is, what is that, 6 feet high?
Yeah, a fence is 6 or 7 feet tall. The snow drift up to it. I mean, it looks like if you didn't have your weight, you could probably just walk up the snowbank and jump over. But when you step into the snow, it crunches you down, and it's not a dense enough like snowpack. It's a drift.
I could try to get through this, man, if you want me to give it a shot.
What if I bash it? Could I, bust the lock on the fence?
Oh, sure.
Get in?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Go ahead and give me a strength plus brawl. Are you going to use a weapon, or are you just going to use your fist?
No, that'll be fine. My fist will be fine. Brawl,
okay.
So that way strength plus brawl would be 5.
Okay, so roll me 5 die.
Okay, there's 1 10,
Fantastic.
1 8.
Okay.
Then there's 2 and 2 6s. So
okay, so you're 8.
Reroll the 10.
Yep, reroll the 10.
That's 7.
Okay, so you got 2 successes. Yeah, the metal on this is so cold that the lock area just snaps under your massive draconic strength. The gate is still closed, but it doesn't open this way, so you're pretty lucky because the snowdrift would stop it if it was a swinging gate kind of thing, but it pulls back along the fence. So you look at it and you think you could probably, with enough strength, you could probably, now that the lock is broken, you could probably just kind of roll it to the side if you put your back into it.
Okay, so I'll open the gate.
Okay. Now
Camera's broken. No one's gonna know.
right, nobody's gonna know. There you go. Yeah, and there's nobody else out on the street. I mean, occasionally a couple streets down where there's like a main crossroad, you'll see a car go through, but they're going through obviously slow to the point where you're just like, yeah, no, nobody's gonna bother me. So the buildings have big letters on them, and they're at each crossroad, it'll point down to what letter is, and it doesn't take you guys too long to find the one that has a Q. It's the end building on a series of what looks to be big ones. They have the big like garage door style opening, as well as a human-sized door to go into. So it looks like stuff where people could store like cars or big furniture or that kind of thing. And pretty quickly you find Q19. I think it's like 19 Q19. It's just said has 17, looks just like Q18 and Q17 and Q16.
Well, this must be the place. Fingers crossed it's climate controlled.
Raz is like, I just want a sweater.
I do. I'm wee. The wind just goes right through me.
Yeah, it does. Okay, so how would you like to go about entering?
I wonder if we can try to listen through the front to see if it sounds like anything inside.
Ooh, that is a very good question.
Can I use a contract for hearing?
Oh, yes, you have a contract for hearing. Let's see, what does Lou have here?
Oh, it's for like an animal, like beast sense.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Sure, beast keen census, sure, definitely. So you're going to be, so you're activating that. That contract works specifically with a particular kind of animal, and so you're basically adopting the hearing of a wolf. Because there are no wolves around for you to touch to activate the catch, you're going to need to spend 2 glamour to do that. It's an instant action, and you're going to roll me your wits plus your weird.
So that would be 4.
Mm-hmm.
Right, use those cat ears.
I got a 10 and 2 8s.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so you got 3 successes, re-roll the 10.
And I got another 8.
Okay, fantastic. You got 4 successes. I'm going to give you actually an additional, normally this would give you a +2 bonus to your wit rolls for perception for the rest of the scene. I'm going to actually give you a +3 bonus because you got so many successes on this. So anytime that you're rolling perception for the next scene, you're going to get 3 extra die to roll in that. Now, would you like to roll a perception roll now to see if you can hear anything going on inside the building?
Yes.
Okay, so perception, you are going, let me double check. I believe it's wits plus composure. I wrote this down. We're just going to run with that. Give me a wits plus composure.
And then an additional 3.
And then, yeah, so exactly. And if you have any, oh, no, sorry, not wits plus composure, wits plus investigation.
What was it? Oh, that's same number.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, great. And do you have a specialty that in investigation that might apply?
Scent.
Scent? Okay, so yeah, so you're listening rather than sending, so you don't get the bonus on that. Okay, how many successes did you get on that?
2 successes.
Fantastic. Okay, so you lean in. Are you listening at the person-sized door or the car-sized door?
The person-sized door.
Person-sized door. Okay, so you listen in there, and you can hear there's something. There's something moving around, and it sounds like there might be somebody talking to themselves or grumbling, like just a bit, kind of a like ongoing, like somebody talking to themselves, but they don't seem real pleased with it. And there is the sound of things like moving around, like if you bumped into something, the sound that it might make, kind of moving like a chair, kind of makes that little squeal when you bump into it, that kind of thing. And give me one more roll. Same thing
for the perception.
Yep, and remember to include your extra 3 die.
I got 3 successes.
Nice. Okay. You can tell it sounds like it's not just like the sound of two footsteps. It sounds like there's one voice, but more than one set of footsteps moving around in there.
So I relay this information like in a whisper to the rest of the party. So, do we want to bust in?
I don't know about all that, man. Maybe we should.
I was going to offer to bust down the door if you want.
Well, maybe we should create some kind of distraction that might get their attention outside of here or something. First, that they come out instead of us going in.
Or we can actually take the keypad on the lock and crunch the numbers.
Wait, we don't want to just run in.
We do have the combo.
They're waiting for this to happen, man. They're waiting.
We can always send Lou first.
Well, what if we? I got an idea, man. This is great. He pulls out his singing bowl again. What the shit this is? And everybody hide.
Yeah, you're high. That's right. You are high. That's right.
Hide. I'm not high, man.
Yeah.
I've been high in a long time. Everybody hide.
You've never been low in a long time.
Oh, like as in actually hide ourselves?
Yeah, like hide. He's like in that really like quiet whisper that's not loud enough for like people would have to be really eavesdropping to hear him, but it's like that kind of theatrical whisper, like just trying to like make us point like hide, man.
I have
just be
where
is
a snowstorm?
There is
I don't
nothing
know.
in here. I mean, it's building, road, snow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what you got at this point.
That's what I was thinking too. It's like this is a parking lot.
You could like hide around the corner of the building.
Yeah, hide around the corner.
Oh, I have a question. I have Shadow Patch. Can I share that with anybody, or is it just me?
Unfortunately, no. Shadow Patch. Let me double check that. It has been a while since I've looked at that skill, so I want to make absolutely sure before I tell you.
This can't fail, guys. There's no way.
This can't fail.
I mean, I got a crazy idea. We could pile up snow and hide behind it.
What if everybody just acts like a tree, man?
That's a horrible idea.
We're snow
Yeah.
people. We're just snow people. We're just snowmen.
And
Yeah,
this is
Shadow
you
Patch.
not being high?
Shadow
you
Patch
not
just
being
works
high?
for you, Raz. Just so
Hey,
you
man,
know.
look, it has been so long since I've done that sort of junk, man. I appreciate you, but I'm going to ask you to maybe not bring up that stuff. That's my past, man. That's not now.
Wow.
He's changed. He's
You gotta change. You gotta leave room for people to change. That's what'll blow your mind.
Okay, so the only realistic way you think in this area for you to hide in a natural method, unless you have a supernatural ability to do so, is basically to just walk around the edge of the building and hide behind, hide along the side of it.
Yeah.
Luckily, this is at the edge. This is the last unit on a building, so you will still only be maybe 10, 15 feet away, but you won't be able
luckily
to
there's no snow, so we don't make any tracks.
Yeah.
I mean, I can
Perfect.
catch
Yeah,
no tracks.
You can definitely see the path that the 6 of you took to get to the door. Like, if you look back, it's obvious that and the like Rip's footprints are like this big, and Lou's are kind of like lupine shaped. So it's kind of weird. It looks like he had a whole menagerie coming up to the door here.
I mean, it could look like he was walking a dog.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit by where the
Completely
footsteps are.
logical.
I'm gonna kind of just stand there where the footsteps are. When they all get around the side of the building, I'm gonna pull out my singing bowl.
All
You
right.
can't lose with the singing bowl.
Okay.
So you activate your singing bowl, and you're making it, and it's making this wonderful sound. And inside the building, things go silent. I kind of jumped the gun on there, Lou, but you heard well enough to be able to kind of keep an ear on what's going on. As soon as that sound is going on, it just goes completely silent.
Well, they're listening.
Hey man, are you inside?
Oh God.
This was your diversion?
Come on out. It's just me, man. I just want to talk.
Lou, do you want to try and hone in a little bit more on what's going on inside so you can see what the response is to this?
Yes.
Okay, roll me your perception again. Anybody else has a perception they want to roll on this? Please feel free to jump on that bandwagon.
I would like to also kind of roll like a perception just visually to see if anybody's trying to get the drop on us.
Sure. Yeah, there. Go ahead and roll it.
I got 2 successes.
Okay. Yeah, you can hear that what sounds like curious sound. It doesn't appear to be coming any closer to the door, but that kind of muttering is gotten a little like there's kind of like an inquiring up note to the end of the mutters.
No successes.
No successes. Yeah, no, it is. Nobody
I'm
is
safe.
Oh, wait. There's a bird. Might be trying to get a jump on you. Nope, it just flew by. Okay.
I'm not even trying. I'm looking around so people don't notice us, basically.
Yeah, there's nobody on the street. The storm is basically, you're very, very, very fortunate in that. Like, your shenanigans are getting no notice whatsoever.
Yeah, but the hedge is right over there in a way, and those guys were big, so.
That's true.
I'm just saying.
Makes
just
you
saying.
a little nervous.
Yeah, I'm saying. Way beyond. Way
so
beyond.
Lou is like, they're curious. I don't know if it's curious as in they're not coming out because it's weird.
Yeah, they don't appear to be getting. They're kind of in the back of the storage unit, whatever that sound is, and the footsteps. It doesn't appear to be coming closer.
So now I'm gonna just completely stop the sound altogether because I think that's even weirder. Like the fact that was going so regularly. Now there is no sound at all. Now they're gonna wonder what the fuck happened to the sound.
So Lou, you can hear they continue kind of muttering. After a while, it gets less like what was that, and more just like going back to the kind of like that was going on.
It didn't work.
Can I
That was a surefire method, I thought.
Yeah, me too.
Let's use the combination.
can I again use the primordial? Can I talk to the air again? Can we find out from the air in the room like what's going on?
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead and make that roll for me.
All right. So I'm like, okay, let's try this because I think it's a good idea for us to be safe, but I want to get in there because I'm cold. I'm kind of like
you're like
I'm trying to stay by Rip and Nikki. What's your character's name again? Lou. I'm trying to stay because Lou's a little fuzzy. I'm like trying to like get as much warmth as I can.
Like, dude, come here. Let me borrow your warmth.
Please. So all right.
Okay, so you're
socialize. All right. Socialize. Sorry. 2. All right. So that's 3. Okay. I have 1 8.
1 8. Okay. So the wind that you're talking about is outside here, and it tells you nobody's been through here in the last day. Nobody's been through here in the last 2 days. Nothing's gone on out here. No people. No people. No cars. No people. No nothing.
All right, but it can't like go underneath the door and find out what's going on with the air inside.
Convince it to kind of deviate in its path and go to an area that it normally has not been going to because it's been locked out of the outside basically. Why don't you roll me a manipulation plus persuasion roll?
Manipulation plus persuasion. All right, so that means if manipulation is 4 and persuasion is 2, I get 6 dice?
6 die, yep. And you can, if you would like to, you can use your extra die that you got from Philibert.
Yeah, I'm throwing it in there.
Throw it in there.
Put it in. I have 1 8.
1 8. Okay. Well, so it's like the wind, just this little whisper of wind is like, okay, I go in. I'll be right back. And just a moment later, it comes back and says, there's something in there. Yeah.
That
big.
was completely
It's
helpful.
big. It's big.
Something in there. It's big. Never seen anything like it. Never seen anything like it. And then it fucks the hell off.
All right, thank you.
Oh, sorry, can I say that here?
I say thank you.
Okay.
All right. So did the rest of the party hear that?
Yeah, you it whispered it to you, but you can communicate that
Okay,
to them
all
if
right.
you'd like.
So the wind just said there's something in there. It's big and it's something it's never seen, and it left like it was really glad to be going.
I suggest we just open the door because we have to go in there one way or another.
I agree. We could just intimidate it, right?
We have the numbers. Just punch the numbers and open the door. Friendly. Open
Okay.
the door.
Is somebody gonna punch the numbers into the keypad then?
Yeah.
Okay, so you punch the numbers into the keypad. You can hear a click as the mechanism near the doorknob on the person-sized door unlocks, and the door appears to be unlocked now. Oh, are you going to just open it, or are you going to
I
let?
am nowhere
Do
near the
it!
entrance of this. when
Yeah,
they
I'm
open
opening it.
Okay,
Do it.
I'm
Okay.
away from this entrance.
so when you okay, noted. When you open it, at first glance, it looks like a typical storage building. I mean, there's stacked cardboard boxes. There's some stuff that looks like it's been shrink wrapped, so that's like on a pallet. After you look at it for a little bit, you realize it's like supplies. There's like MREs. There's obviously some camping type gear. The pallet is bottled water. It looks like basically like
Prepper's heaven.
a prepper's heaven. Yeah, exactly. You don't see any firearms or that kind of thing right off, although there is what looks like it might be a gun safe on one end. But there's the building, the room that you open up to is probably 15 by 15, and about halfway into it, there is a like a curtain. It's just like a cloth. It looks like it's made out, not cloth. It looks like it's made out of visqueen. And in the back area looks like it's more open. I
just yell, "Hey, Purdue, are you in there?"
So there is a voice that comes from the back, and it sounds not human. If you can imagine the sound that a robot might make if combined with a clanking set of cans and maybe wind chimes, and also maybe the sound of like one of those mouth harps that go now now now, that like forms the resonance, and it's like who's that, who's there, who that, who's there, who
Ooh.
and there's a shape moving behind this like visqueen curtain that looks like it takes up the majority of the width of the back of the room. It's kind of indistinct because of that. It looks like a great big couch. Like, I mean, it's or maybe a minivan or something.
Okay.
Who?
Maybe I stepped in it this time. Again. Who's there? I tell. Well, it's Rip. You called?
Who? Rip what? Rip thing? Rip what? Who? Rip what? For those of you, the Winter Court here, you've talked directly with Purdue before. This does not sound like Purdue's voice. Purdue has a very quiet, sedate, no real intonation kind of voice, androgynous. This does not sound anything like them. Does not sound like any person you've ever heard before.
That's not Purdue.
They're not.
Whatever it is, I
Okay.
can tell you it's not Purdue. I know.
Okay.
I know that.
Hey
There
guys,
goes back to
what's
that.
going on in there?
That goes back to that whole conspiracy theory thing. We were led into a trap. We're given wrong directions.
So as you kind of stand around the outside door here, whatever is on the other side of the visqueen starts halumphing forward, and that's the only it's not a smooth sound. Have you ever seen a walrus move itself, where it's just like rump, it starts halumphing forward. And this mass, whatever it is probably 7 foot tall, takes up the space, most of the space of the storage unit in the back. And it's coming towards the Vix Queen. It makes like one harumph toward you. You guess maybe 2 more harumphs and it's going to be through the Vix Queen.
I'm ready to pull down the door again, or the shaders, or the opening.
Oh, okay.
I'm not
Slam
moving
the
away.
garage door back shut. Fair.
Yeah, I'm not moving away. I just standing and I'm ready to close and run, because if it's bigger than me, it's dangerous.
What's going on in there, guys? Everything good?
Yeah,
Everything
sure. Yeah, sure. But come over.
good?
Take your bowl with you. Take your bowl with you.
So is there like any space on top of boxes and stuff to like move across and like pull back the Vis Queen to see?
Sure, definitely. Roll me a dexterity plus. Let's do. Are you going to be discreet about it, or are you just going to like make a mad fast dash for it?
I'm gonna be discreet.
Okay, so roll me dexterity plus stealth. Add in any specializations you might have.
Stealth. Okay. I've got 3 successes.
Fantastic. You are so smooth. You make a leap up to the top. You jump like onto one the pallet, and then the stack, what looks to be the sturdiest stack of cardboard boxes, and you're up there and you pull back. You kind of use your lupine strength and pull back. The Vis Queen just falls to the ground, and what you see behind it is, I think, going to be apparent to you pretty quick here, if it is not already. Can you guys see that? No. Okay, so
Where?
What are we looking at?
I just realized that I don't know that we have any way to show you. So what I'm going to
You can share screen on Zoom if you need to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is there? Okay.
I don't know if that's going to mess up.
I'm gonna hold this up to you.
Or in Discord, maybe.
It looks like this.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Ooh,
Oh.
yes,
Okay.
clockwork.
This thing is cobbled together with all kinds of different things. There's a bicycle. There's what looks like what could have been one of the sheds from the goblin markets. There's probably a refrigerator, you think, maybe in the back. Some children's toys. There are some body parts sticking out of it. Like it's got 2 big front leg kind of things that it's using to harumph itself forward, but they're mismatched. One of them looks like it might have been from like some sort of an elephant, but it's actually made out of plant matter. And then the other one is like leonine. It looks like almost like a griffin's claw with really sharp claws and stuff. Totally mismatched, and it's using it to pull itself forward. And you notice, give me a perception check. So if you would all please roll a wits plus investigation. If you have any visual based specialties, you can throw them in there. If you want to use your Philibert's thing, you can throw it in there. You're just kind of overwhelmed by the sheer amount of junk this thing is made out of.
I have 3 successes.
What did you call for a wits plus what?
Wits plus investigation.
Okay.
1 success.
One
Yay.
success?
Yeah.
1 success. Yeah.
No successes. Yeah.
No,
2 successes.
So
2 successes.
So okay, so you
Jeez,
guys,
man.
those of you who got 1 success at least, you recognize that this thing, like none of this thing is actually itself. It's all just a construct it looks like it's mostly been slapped together where its own claws could have reached to place things on it. Those of you who got 2 successes will note that there is a good combination of both mundane garbage detritus kind of stuff and things that would have been pulled out of the hedge, goblin-esque kind of things. And Lou, you who got 3 observances, you notice right behind this thing's shoulder, there is what appears to be the fire scepter stuck into it, but around the handle of the fire scepter is still a very, very pale white fist gripping it, and about this much of an arm, and then what probably was blood at some time in the past, but has long since stopped bleeding.
So I look back at the group and I'm like, I found the monarch and this, or at least part of him, and the scepter.
Man, I told you he wasn't gonna let go.
Okay, could you guys all give me one more a perception test, please? One more.
That was cold, man. That was
visual
cold.
based.
What are we
Okay,
rolling?
1, 2, 3,
Wits plus
4.
perception.
Okay.
Any add in any visual based specialties if you'd like. If you haven't used Philibert's bonus, you can use it there.
3 successes.
Oh wow. Okay. Gray's like, I see this.
2 successes, a 9 and a 10, and I re-rolled the 10. I still stayed 2
Fantastic.
successes.
Okay.
2 successes.
One success.
One. Okay. So those of you
You're
who
cold.
got one success, you notice that beyond the thing, whatever this thing is, you can see a pair of beige boots on the floor, you know, kind of stuck out this way. Those of you who get 2 successes, you realize that there is a body laying on the floor that you can see its feet sticking out. And those of you who get 3 successes, you can see that there is not only a body, but there is a beige mask that is off to the other side, and it is blood splattered.
I think he's gone.
And this thing is harumphing its way. It is no. There's now nothing, no visqueen between the two of you. It looks, and it looks, and it doesn't seem angry. It looks curious, and but it leans over, and it's like looking at you, and like if you have any of you guys like pulled weapons, or do you have anything like in your hands or that kind
My
of thing?
singing bowl.
Tinskage singing bowl, or sorry, Pax has got his singing bowl. He catches eye of Pax's singing bowl, and he says, and the thing says, bowl is like bowl, bowl is mine. Give me back my bowl. Why you take my bowl from me? Give me my bowl. And
Hey
it starts
man,
moving
let's
towards
chill
you.
a second. Chill out.
Bowl is mine. Why you steal my bowl?
Can I
Why
try
you-
to persuade it? Is it sentient enough that I could
Certainly
try?
It's
Let's try it.
in words.
Why not?
So you can try
So
to-
actually, this is a 2-parter that I'm going to try to do. I'm going to first ask it, when did I steal this bowl from you?
bowl mine.
That's his
I like
comment.
bowl,
Okay.
bowl mine.
So I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to add that extra die to this, because I can do that for persuade.
Okay.
I'm going to add a glamour to this as well.
Okay.
And so my pool for this is manipulation 4
Okay.
plus 2 plus I'm trying to persuade, so
Okay.
3.
Okay.
But I'm not being sincere right now, so I'm not going to add this no sincere.
Fair. I am too scared to be sincere.
Well, I'm going to try to convince it. Basically, my real goal here is I want to try to convince it that we're not going. Try to convince it to not hurt us.
Okay.
To try to communicate with us.
Okay.
Doubtful, but that's why I'm rolling a bunch of dice. Let's see.
Okay. Roll them dice.
Well, I got out of all those dice 2 successes,
Okay. Let me.
which is
roll
perfect. That's exactly what I
it.
did.
Roll for it. Oh, I got 2 exploding successes and a 9, and 1 more success, and 1 more success,
Perfect.
and 1 more success, and a 5. Yeah. It doesn't really seem interested in what you have to say. It is concentrating entirely on that bowl in your hands, although it does occasionally flicker glances to other people, in a very assessing kind of way.
I'm going to take the bowl and I'm going to throw it out the front door of the.
Oh,
Okay.
Just
So it has to go right past all those
oh,
guys.
Why you throw my ball? And it just
I get out of the way.
Yeah.
I get out of the way
Realize
too.
that because
I'm moving
you,
away.
you suddenly have an animatronic locomotive heading your direction. You did not think this thing could move this fast or this dexterously. It has gone from galumping like a walrus to moving like a sinuous snake. It's just, and it doesn't attack you as you go by, but if you do not actively try to get out of its way, it will bowl you over without any hesitation whatsoever. So does everyone try to move out of its way, or
Can I
stop it?
Yeah, I'll
can
move out of
I
the way.
can I run after the bowl? I'm trying to get the bowl. I want to get the
Sure.
bowl back.
Yeah, definitely. Let's set this up as a contested. So what you're going to roll me is your because you're very small, and I assume you're using like speed and dexterity.
I'm using my speed.
Okay, so what is your speed?
My speed. I looked at it and I know it's a lot, but I have to. I don't. Where is it at again?
Oh,
I'm
that's
sorry.
okay. It's above your contracts on your second page.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Above the contracts. Speed 10.
10. Okay, so this thing also has a speed of 10, so it's moving about the same time speed as you are. So let's roll your dexterity plus athletics versus its dexterity plus athletics, which is going to be 3 plus 2. 3 plus 2. This has a specialty in foot chase, so I'm going to apply it in this situation because it seems like it's an appropriate thing. So I'm going to be rolling a total of 6 dice.
Okay, I'm rolling 5.
Okay, and I got 1 success plus a 10, so I'll roll again. So that's 2 plus a 2. So I've got 2 successes. How many did you get?
1.
Okay, so it gets to the bowl just ahead of you. And it snatches it up in its the foot that looks like a lion's claw. You can still make an attempt if you'd like to grab it out of its hand.
While
Well,
they're
and
doing this, is there a way to like go for the scepter that's stuck to the back of it there?
Sure, yeah, definitely. You want to take the basically kind of an opportunity to kind of grab onto it as it goes by.
And I also
Right,
posted that I
exactly.
wanted to try to mount it. I wanted to try to jump on
You
it.
want
and
to try
put it
jump
over
it like,
here.
okay.
Mhm.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so
Okay.
as they're
So-
going past, go ahead.
So yes, I do want to try to snatch it back if I
Snatch
can.
it back. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're gonna let's go ahead and being so we did the race between the two of you. Let's go ahead and get the two people who are doing something as it goes
Yeah,
by,
yeah.
and then we'll come back to the snatching it out of its hand.
Sure, sure.
Okay, so Alex, you are attempting to grab the scepter as it goes past. Okay, fantastic. Why don't you give me a dexterity plus athletics? If you have an appropriate specialty, you can throw that in there.
Okay. 2 successes out of the 4, and one of them's a 10. Let me.
Okay.
You know, they got 2 successes.
Okay, fantastic. So you are able to, even though this thing is pretty tall up, you're not a tiny person, and you're able to grab it as it's going by, grab onto the scepter. The scepter is still held very tightly in this hand, and both of them appear to be kind of anchored into this cobble body, which is what this thing is. So you can grab onto it, but you're kind of it's far enough up, it's kind of got you on your tippy toes, and so you're kind of like keeping up with it as it goes. And if you'd like the next turn, you can make an effort to try and like pull it loose if you'd like. Okay. Pax, you're going to try and leap onto this thing's back like it's a giant water buffalo, and you're going to ride that sucker to town.
Seeing that he has a hold of it, what
Okay.
I'd like to do is I'd like to try to use my body in a way that it can actually add to the momentum for him pulling this out.
Oh,
So I
okay.
kind of want to like fling myself and kind of like use that body weight to help dislodge it while he has a hold of it. Teamwork.
Okay, are you doing that by snagging the scepter, or are you doing that by snagging Alex?
So I'm gonna try to, I'm gonna try to grab the scepter also as I fling myself in that direction. So
Okay.
it's kind of like that's gonna be the
Fantastic.
focus of it
Okay,
as
roll
well.
me-
Not to
roll
try to
me-
get rid of Alex, but to try to help
Right.
out.
Yeah, exactly. You're yeah. So you can, if you would like, you can use this as an assistance to Alex's action, to be a supportive action on as opposed to doing it on its own, because what that will do is give a chance for him to have pulled it free, as opposed to a chance for you to also have a hold of it.
Yeah, so that's what I'd like to do. I'd like to basically
fantastic.
offer an assist.
Okay, so what I'm going to have you do, because you're actually helping him assist with pulling it free, I'm going to have you roll. Let's see, how about strength plus athletics? And if you have an appropriate specialization, feel free to use it.
Well, I'm pretty flexible, so that should help in this sort of momentum.
Sure, you're like, okay, if I get pull on this angle, it'll help pry it free.
Okay, since I'm being flexible, is there a way I could use dexterity instead of strength?
Yeah, sure, no problem. So you're basically you're just trying to, rather than like physically bully it out, you're like, okay, well, if I help by pushing on this thing over here or tugging on it, maybe that'll kind of leverage it loose.
Yes, let's do that. Oh, I got a 10! Yay!
Yay!
So that's 3 successes plus, including the 10.
Fantastic.
4. I got a 9, so 4 successes.
Fantastic. Okay, as you with your assist, that the scepter the hand stays stuck. It was obviously stuck in there a lot more than the scepter was, but because the scepter, the couple body was relying on the scepter being clenched in the hand to anchor it in, you're able to pull it out of the wrist's grip, and the scepter itself kind of gets loose, and it kind of fumbles around. Alex can probably make a grab for it on his next turn, just to make sure it doesn't like tumble all the way to the ground and that kind of thing. What you notice though is as soon as this scepter pops out of the clenched hand, the wind dies completely. The snow completely stops falling. Like, it's not even like the snow that was already in the air hits the ground. It just stops. It's like there's still snow on the ground, but the storm it's like it's instantly over. Raz, would you like to continue trying to get the bowl out of the cobble body's hands?
So when the scepter comes out, it doesn't, but the cobble body is still going.
The cobble body's still going. It is.
So it doesn't affect them.
It's got the bowl in its hand now.
Okay.
And it's holding it in its griffin hand, and it is preening over it. It is just like, oh, it's so pretty. I love my bowl. I've always loved my bowl. The bowl. I love this bowl so much. I'm going to keep this bowl forever. And you can see it's starting to try and figure out exactly where it's going to put it. It takes off. It's got like a little top hat that wasn't actually attached to its body. It was like clothing, and it whips that off and throws it away. Never liked that hat. This is my hat now. This is my hat. But it's tiny, like compared to this thing's head. It's like a totally miniature hat, but it's trying to press it into its hat. That's what it's obviously going to attempt to do. So you can try to remove it from its hands if you'd like.
So my initial thought was that I was going to bargain with it to get the scepter by holding the bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But since we seem to be getting pretty successful with that, like I've noticed that that doesn't seem to be an issue, but I do want information. So yeah, I decide I would like to get this bowl.
Okay.
Yeah, and
So
try to use it as a bargaining chip.
Okay, why don't you roll me dexterity plus larceny if you have any, because larceny is specifically about pickpocketing and stealing things and that kind of thing.
So I have 1 larceny,
fantastic.
And I have 4 dexterity.
Oh,
so
nice.
I get 5.
And this thing has 3 dexterity.
I lost a die.
Actually, I'm only going to use strength, which is 2, because he's trying to hold on to it. So I'm going to use strength for him plus he doesn't really have any appropriate skills. Oh, actually, he's got brawl grapple. So I'm just gonna give him 1 die. So he's not actually grappling a person. I'm just gonna give him 1 die for his skill in that. And he got 1 success that exploded. So he only got 1 success. How many did you get?
None.
None. Okay. So he holds on. It looks kind of iffy, and it's kind of funny to watch from the outside. Those of you who are observing this, this tiny little androgynous person in a hoodie, and this great big huge monster beast are like back and forth with a big hand, teeny tiny little hand, and this singing bowl, and it's kind of fumbling between the two of them. But eventually, after like 3 or 4 fumbles back and forth, the cobble body gets it in its hand, and it slaps it on its head and said, "No, it's mine. It's always been mine. Why you take my things?"
I just wanted to talk to you. I just wanted to ask you some questions.
Talk, not take. Talk,
yes.
Not take.
Talk, not take.
So it appears to be willing to talk to you, but it's definitely doing something with the bowl. And as you watch, as turns pass, assuming you don't stop it from doing it, you notice that little pieces of wiring and chain and things like that were already part of its head start kind of tendriling up and incorporating the singing bowl into the creature's actual head as a accoutrement.
I would like to use witch's intuition while they're talking.
What? Okay, yes, definitely. Just go ahead and roll it and let me know how many successes you get. This is Lou using witch's intuition.
I've got 2.
You've got 2 successes, and check and see, is there a it's minus their composure, and their composure is 1. And they didn't get a success on it anyway. So yes, so you get 2 successes against it. What are you looking for? Do you have a preference, or do you just want 2 little tidbits? Or
I'm trying to see what it's afraid of.
It is afraid of losing, or specifically of people taking away its things. And you kind of get the feeling that would, that because its things are itself, that would, if everything of its things got taken away, it would no longer exist, and it doesn't want to no longer exist. But also it just likes its things.
Can anyone hear? That's a weird long voice. Hang on. Good news, everyone! New character.
Thank you, Professor Farnsworth.
Zoidberg! Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's all we think of too.
Man, can anybody create like some sort of portal to the hedge or something and get this thing out of here?
Hedge?
It might have.
Can go to hedge. There's stuff in hedge, but it's stuff here. I'm not done stuff here. Stuff.
Where do you get to the hedge from here?
Right, going to hedge.
There are some crystals in there, and there's this little guy at the goblin market that has them, and you'd love them.
Crystals? My crystals?
Yes, your crystals.
He does my crystals?
Yes, there's 3 of them.
In the goblin market?
Yes.
He's trying to sell my crystals that I've always had?
Yeah, man, it's some crazy shit.
You're evil, man.
Let me make a roll.
I was thinking of the same thing. I'm like, wow.
You're more plain evil, man.
That's awful.
It's roll of darkness, not happiness.
Obviously.
Gets so worked up. Like, you don't, so worked up. You think it's going to explode for a minute. It's just like, it's going to sell my things?
Yeah, go!
Then can I use what do you call it? Can I use one of my contracts here to, what is it? Goblin's malignance and direct his wrath onto Hob. I mean, if we're gonna go evil, let's.
From the
I think it's already there.
Yeah, I was like, if we're gonna go evil, let's do full evil.
So normally you could, if it was directed to a person within that person has to be within the line of sight. But I am willing to give you a roll, and if you get an exceptional success, which is 5 or more successes, I am willing to have you even more ramp that thing up, just because it's hilarious.
Okay.
So go ahead
Poor
and
Hob.
roll.
Sure. Let's see here. What would that be? Manipulation plus persuasion. So my manipulation is supposed to be pretty high here. Let's see. Manipulation is 2, and persuasion is another 2. So let's do 4.
But hang on just a second. So I'd like to address, we haven't really dealt much with blessings and that kind of thing, because honestly, it just slipped my head as we were playing. But your blessing as a Ferris allows you to spend glamour to add to your dice, add dice to your pool for presence, manipulation, and persuasion skills. It's part of your innate ability as a Ferris. So if you have extra glamour left over, you can basically spend that, being so we're kind of at the end of the scenario, to add extra dice to your pool to do this.
All right, I'll spend. I haven't spent any glamour, so I'll spend
There you go.
4.
Okay. Now, normally, if we were playing a standardized game with hard and fast mechanics, your amount of glamour that you're allowed to spend in a turn is limited by your weird. But we're just going to hand wave that because this is hilarious.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, there's 4 and 4. Made 4 successes.
4 successes. Okay. This.
That's
so
worth
it's looking like I'm very angry. You're not really sure that it's worked, because it already was kind of focusing its anger at this thing that would dare to sell its shiny rocks that it's never actually seen before. So as you're talking to it maybe it picks up its step just a little bit more, but it was already focused on that thing. And it does this. If you've ever seen a snake do like a serpentine thing, it does that, and the air around it kind of shimmers, and Wayne's World. And a gateway doesn't open, but this thing from the tail first just kind of slips into nothingness. And what you're left with is the smell that is similar to the smell of the Goblin Market where you guys were earlier today, because I know a couple of you smelled specifically. And it's gone. There is nothing left but its tiny little top hat still in the snow, where you guys had it, or where it threw it when it put its new singing bowl hat that it had always had forever.
In irony,
on top of its head.
I pick up the top hat and put it on my head. Fair trade.
And Alex looks at Pax and says, I hope you weren't too attached to that goblin friend of yours.
Well, it takes spring to end winter, right?
So you now have the scepter in hand. You are able to go back and redeem it for the promise notes of favors from Mr. Clark. And that's where we're going to wrap things up. You guys did a really good job. I loved how you ran with everything. We kind of ran over. I hope that's not going to cause a huge amount of problems. But thank you guys all so much for playing. Do you have any last minute questions or that kind of thing that I can help for you before we kind of wrap things up?
What a huge honor to play with you. That's really incredible.
Oh,
like, legit.
You guys were amazing. You were
super
amazing.
fun.
And the way you tell the story and the world and stuff, I want to go to the hedge.
Right?
Yeah,
Right?
I want to go to the hedge.
No, you don't.
Yeah. We didn't get into a lot
Well,
of
or
the darker
just-
side. You guys managed to miss the encounter with briar wolves that you would have had if you hadn't negotiated for a way out of the hedge and had to find your way to the back into the hedge yourself. You would have had an encounter with briar wolves, which are not a fun part of the hedge. But you guys managed to find another way. And for just the price of 3 clicky clacky rocks.
3 shiny rocks.
Yeah.
Well, he
and it's like-
unfortunately did not get to hold on to those very long.
For which Pax then negotiated revenge.
Right? Exactly.
The interesting thing is he doesn't know which rocks he's looking for, so that's gonna be fun.
It doesn't matter because whatever couple bodies just they obsess on things.
Yeah.
They're kind of akin to the if you guys have watched Labyrinth, the woman from Labyrinth. It's like
With the big,
your
actually, actually, with all of your
Teddy
goblin
bear.
voices, with all of your goblin voices, I kept thinking about, I kept having scenes from the Labyrinth play through my head. So yes.
It is
that's
definitely
cool.
one of the inspirational materials that we drew from when we were creating Lost. So
It really was like a total manifestation of the id, like straight up.
Yeah.
Like the whole
This is
thing.
mine. It's always been mine.
Yeah, mine.
It's mine.
Yeah,
And
it's
it
mine.
I
always
like
has
it. It's
been.
mine. Yes, it's
Yeah.
always. I like the cat tail in the window, Rasmus.
Thank you. This is mine. This is mine.
Oh,
I was hoping you
You're
wouldn't actually show
famous.
the cat, and we just thought the tail was yours. Like,
I wish. I
This
wish.
is the part of the Zoom call where we all awe over each other's pets.
Aw,
Yeah.
aw.
Okay.
Find a pet. Find a pet. I don't have a pet. Make a pet. Something.
Something.
Aw.
Oh,
This is Sigmund.
Sigmund.
Oh,
Aw.
sweet. Oh, and Autumn's got theirs. Oh, how cool. That's fantastic.
Timothy, you ever just have to take one of the goblins in the window or something?
Hmm.
And we have Prince.
Oh,
that's so cool.
hello. Hi,
Mine are all
Pixie.
mad because I shut my office door so that they wouldn't come up here in the middle of the game session. So,
I want to thank Throne
you
Monkey
guys-
for watching too.
They let you.
Oh yeah, that's Throne Monkey is actually one of my friends.
Oh.
I've known them for like 20 some years, and their wife is actually immortalized in Changeling as one of the. I think she's in the core book here
No kidding.
as a true fae. Yes, her name is Carrie Urban, and she is. Let's see, is she in here?
That's so cool. I'm jealous.
One of the books. Yeah, she's
Awesome.
she is immortalized as one of the NPCs in this. I like to do that when I'm writing stuff. In fact, we've done it. The LARP group that I belong to auctioned away for charity various and sundry things, and one of the things that they auctioned away was me including their your character ish into an upcoming Changeling book. So we did that as a way to benefit local charities. It was
That's
I
kinda
just
cool.
have to mention
Nice.
that my name is 1 S at the start and 2 at the end, in case you need
Just
to
in
know,
case
you know.
I needed to know.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
mentioning
Thank you, Ray
it.
Mouse.
Yeah, by the way.
By the way. So you guys have done this before. I haven't done this before. What do we do now? Autumn. Elliott.
Hi.
Hi. Oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay, so we just said hi. Yeah.
Your voice in my head.
Are telling
Hello.
Yes.
No voice in my head.
We're not crazy.
Hi,
We're
Ellie.
talking to ourselves right now, everyone. I'm sorry. This is an entire inner monologue
We're
happening.
just, we're just working it out. It's cool.
We're doing
Thank you
Gestalt
guys
therapy
so
together
much.
right now.
Yeah.
Empty chat.
Thank you guys so much for coming and playing. This was really fun for me.
Mhm.
Thank you, Jess. This is so much
This
fun.
is
I really
great.
appreciate your generosity
Oh,
and play.
Yeah.
my
Mhm.
pleasure.
So awesome.
Oh,
If you
Autumn,
if you want to do this again and need players, I'm here.
Yeah.
fantastic. Well, I'm hoping maybe eventually to be able to do more with Lost, with Geek Therapeutics. Tony has just been absolutely fantastic and supportive about it, and I think it's a really. And of course, we all have our favorites, and Lost is definitely my favorite of the games that I've helped create, and I think beyond that it has some really really cool potentials for therapeutic exploration, and so I'm super super honored to be able to help bring that to you guys. And if you guys have any questions or anything later on, I know I'm always a Oh, I should have thought of that to ask them, but please, come find me. I'm available pretty much everywhere as jesshartley.com or jesshartley.com as Jess Hartley. So yeah, just hit me up. I am actually 3 websites in a trench coat.
But the thing, this game as a tool is freaking marvelous because wonderful because you can really take the personalities of the kids you're working with and put them into the setting. Yeah,
And
I
there's
really
so
enjoy
many
it.
great metaphors for working
Yeah.
with trauma in it. So yeah.
Yeah.
You also
sorted
did
all the-
Scion, right? You also did some work on Scion. Is
I
that
did.
right?
I did. I worked on the not the most recent version of it, but the original version. I worked on the demigod and god level versions of it because it has 3 books: hero, demigod, and god. I didn't work on hero, but I worked on the other 2.
And can people also find like Little Yoshida and Exalted in Northern Twilight on Amazon?
In Northern Twilight, I believe, can be found on Amazon. I don't know that Little Yoshida is, because Little Yoshida was a novel that I wrote in chapters for the game company to go with the game Alpha Omega, which I don't believe is still being produced. So I'm not sure if they can, if you can still get Little Yoshida anywhere. But I do have, if you're interested in my writing, I do have a book called Monsters I Have Known that's a collection of my short story work that's been published, and that's out on Amazon in PDF and in softback version. So if you want to check it out, feel free. I'm very proud of it.
Awesome.
Cool.
Fantastic.
Thank
You guys are
yeah.
great. Thank you guys all so much. So yeah, I guess. Bye.
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 Love you all. Don't get lost.
Don't get lost.
Bye.